What you're seeing here is that we have developed it so that it is a 3-month, 6-month, or 1-year program. So again, kind of talking to that point of approximately, $2,000, $3,000 to take a unit for 3 months, based off of that $600 per service value to service. You're looking at 5 to 6 fits in your 3-month period. So if you want to break it down from that standpoint, your return on your investment if you find that you're bogged down, you're definitely not in a situation where you're struggling to figure that out. In regards to what is included in it, automatically the sensor that goes out to you will be calibrated in the wind tunnel, 98.5% accurate. This does not include your customs, your shipping, customs, and duty costs. So if you have a shipping account or sending it out collect, we work with in that. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, there is the engineering support here of 4 hours. Again, it's the guys who built the system, so you get great support, and it's meant for you. If you have problems, you're trying to figure out something, it might be as simple as, they'll point things out. And we've seen this where the rider, once they're in the zone, then they start speeding up, which messed up the data set. So it's just simple explanations of the data that we can look on the back end. Optional upgrades that are happening, so it's a straightforward check sheet, is reactivation. So if you decide you have it for 3 months, you're going to go on a hiatus for 3 months, and then you get invited to a camp, your system is automatically deactivated at our end. It is tied specifically to your email and is controlled that way. And so there's a reactivation fee to have it set up. So that's the other factor there. And then the thing that we're bringing into, which I think is pretty important, it's happened a couple times, is kind of an emergency replacement. So if you don't do an emergency replacement, and something happens, a rider crashes on, say, a rainy condition you decide to test that day, the sensor's damaged. That sensor needs to come back to us. We're going to run a slew of tests. You might actually lose the sensor due to that accidental event. It could be, depending on how you ship it back, you could lose it for a week, 2 weeks, a month. We're going to recalibrate everything, the whole 9 yards. If you have the emergency replacement, what we're going to do is we're actually going to send you out a sensor immediately. It's actually going to pick up the shipping costs one time to have you just simply take the other one that's damaged, put it in a box. Once you get it, send it back to us. So you're really only out a couple days. So you have to look at it of what's important to you from that standpoint. Pretty clean, pretty straightforward. From future development, we've touched on a few of these upgrades. We're going to be developing a dashboard system. There's going to be a velodrome mode system coming out. There's a free ride. So the velodrome, for people who already like working in a velodrome, maybe they are always in a rainy condition and they have access to velodromes. Again, in Canada, we have access to 2 of them, of which cost a small fortune to fly to, and often are holding events. So it's not something we have access, but in Europe, there might be a lot more. And then the other one is the athlete profile system. So there's going to be a system. It comes down to when things start moving along, fit files and so forth, where it's going to be more of an in-depth metrics. We're going to be releasing different things. Chris, I think you talked about, we're developing what's the system we were talking about? It's the where they can anticipate race conditions and so forth. The simulator, that's what it is. It's going to have simulator, it's going to have all these features. So if all of a sudden you guys are feeding back information to us and saying, hey, could we have a thing where a rider could actually take in the conditions, wind conditions? We've done so many tests with them. It now tells them which tools are best for that race day because they're doing their A race in that type of thing. So that is going to be an ongoing development type thing, and it's meant for the athletes. I'm going to preface that one. That's a little bit like some of the programs out there where coaches and fitters are doing it, coaches, and where they allow for the subscription. They pick up the subscription fee for their customer for the 1 year, but then the customer might not be working with them anymore, and so forth. So it becomes a little bit of a decision of whether, I think Training Peaks is what it is.
Yeah.
Talking to a lot of coaches out there, they pick up when their customer is using their service as a coach, they pick up the fee for Training Peaks. When they're no longer with them, they don't pick it up. So that's something that's also in development. And these are all things that we will have available probably in the next 8 months to 12 months.
Yeah, well, some of them, such as Velodrome mode, will probably be out inside of a month or a month
or
and
two.
a half.
Yeah.
Whereas other features naturally take longer to develop because you need the rider data in order to actually develop what you're working on, as opposed to something like just a different mode of testing. And that really is just requires software implementation, firmware updates to the sensors, and then you're good to go as that mode being active. So yeah, some of these within a month and a half before you even get your hands on a sensor, they'll already be there.
Which will actually lead to something, and again, this is just anecdotal, do updates, because we're literally pushing out software updates on the iPad, every 2 weeks. So there's a lot of moving parts right now.